My name is Benjamin Scott Sanchez. I would like to take a few minutes to share with you the process by which I developed my final media project. This media project is the final component for the completion of my master's degree in Education, Media Design, and Technology at Full Sail University. My media project came from the result of my thesis work. For my thesis, I researched the e-learning content of my employer, Kronos Incorporated. So I decided to better understand Kronos e-learning content by observing, analyzing, and comparing it to evidence-based methods for e-learning effectiveness. While Kronos e-learning media is well produced, the methods within the e-learning do not incorporate pedagogical methods found to be effective in e-learning content. Some of the e-learning was not meeting different learning styles of the audience, nor did it seem to follow design principles that would maximize learner cognition. The thesis recommendation is to create an e-learning development approach that follows design principles that will be most likely to create learner success. Therefore, it seemed most practical to develop a media project that would share key principles for effective e-learning content development. This media project, an online lesson, would be intended for e-learning content development professionals, such as those at Kronos. The lesson should not point out examples of questionable e-learning design at Kronos, but rather teach the learner to identify and recognize which design principles are effective. The skills used to perform the research and analysis for my thesis were greatly influenced by months 1, 2, and 5 of this master's program. Those courses were Month 1, Multiple Learning Theory Applications, Month 2, Education Design and Evaluation, and Month 5, Digital Media and Education Applications. The first step of the development process of this media project required the creation of a content proposal. This proposal was intended to zero in on the intent of the media project, its design elements, and expected outcomes. In this process, I used skills learned during month 11 of this program, online course development. My proposal was to create an e-learning lesson which would help e-learning content developers develop content that would have greater cognitive impact on the learner. I decided that the content of the work would be based primarily on research of Clark and Mayer and their book, E-Learning and the Science of Instruction. Their work was the backbone of my thesis research, which is, as I found, supported by other researchers, including Robinson and Schraw, in recent innovations in educational technology that facilitates student learning. I also decided to incorporate the R2-D2 model developed by Bonk and Zhang in their book, Empowering Online Learning. Once I had the initial approval, I began to hone in on the core scope of the information to be taught in the lesson. This process used skills learned in Month 2, Education Design and Evaluation, and Month 4, Corporate Training and Motivational Development. When the scope was finalized, I created storyboards to design the content. Storyboarding was a skill I learned in Month 2, Education Design and Evaluation. For storyboarding, I simply use Apple's Keynote with a template I designed based on a storyboard template provided by Dr. Sean Butler. My storyboards detail the narrative instructional text and a simple mock-up graphic and/or animation to be used in the lesson. The beauty of using Keynote for this process is that sometimes I can actually just copy and paste my mocked-up graphics from my storyboard to the final lesson design. After the storyboard process is complete, I began creating the media assets for the lesson. This process used skills I learned in Month 6, Musical Theory and Education Applications, Month 7, Filmmaking Principles and Education, and Month 9, Media Asset Creation. For the introduction and wrap-up videos, I used a video color key process with a green screen. For this, I used Adobe Premiere for video editing, which gives me excellent editing capabilities. Green screen gives me the greatest flexibility for e-learning creation because I can then use any graphic or instructional element in the video with me without any other visual distractions. Or I can use myself as a pedagogical agent in the lesson. I also used green screen techniques for the media page on pedagogical agents. It's interesting to note that everything I learned about editing with green screen in Adobe Premiere was learned from YouTube videos. YouTube has been a great resource for constructivist learning. Next, I recorded the instructional narrations for each of the principles to be presented. I did this using Apple's GarageBand, the audio recording tool I commonly use for audio-only assets. I created all of my graphics and animations in Keynote. Effective e-learning principles suggest simplicity in delivery to reduce cognitive overload, so I used very simple graphics to make the points. Keynote makes it very easy then to add the audio asset to the related slide and export the result to a QuickTime video. This saves an extraordinary amount of time by avoiding video editing that would otherwise be required. When all of the media assets were completed, they were uploaded to udoo.com, a learning content management system we learned to use in Month 10, Learning Management Systems and Organization. Udoo provides simple tools for uploading and streaming the media assets I created. Then Udoo goes one step further and allows me to create many different types of assessment components, giving me control over how they are displayed and what to do when the learner is wrong or right. I use the Udoo built-in tools for creating learner self-assessment. But because Udoo does not currently have assessment and score collection tools available, I developed a survey in Zoomerang.com to collect learner evaluation data and other learner demographic information. The data collected in Zoomerang will be used for the assessment of the lesson's effectiveness.
Thank you for your time and effort in reviewing my thesis and media project. These two projects reflect a brief summary of all that I have learned during my master's program at Full Sail University. Much of the theory and technical skills I have learned during this program have been introduced into my regular work activities. I have found many ways to incorporate the design methods recommended in my thesis, in addition to improving my delivery methods in face-to-face workshops. Designing effective learning in schools and in corporate settings takes a great deal of thought, planning, creativity, and experience. This master's program has taken my professional skills as a consultant and trainer to a whole new level. In addition, they have challenged me to do a better job of incorporating Web 2.0 tools into my work. While I have no immediate plans to make any job changes, I have already received one inquiry within Kronos about my plans for using what I have learned. Additionally, I am beginning to explore the possibility of pursuing a doctoral degree program to further study e-learning design. My studies tell me that e-learning is the new frontier of education and training. There is still much to be learned and even more to be shared in this stimulating field of study. Thank you.